So, inshallah, this will be a double header. So, I mean, it's so beautiful. So the two pages is ayah number 170 through 176, and then 177 through 181. So it's going to be ayah 170 through 181. And what does Allah say? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا قيل لهم اتبعوا ما أنزل الله قالوا بل نتبع ما ألفينا عليه آباءنا. And when it is said to them, follow what Allah revealed. Follow what Allah revealed. They say, rather we will follow that which we found our fathers doing, even though their fathers understood nothing, nor were they guided. So, this ayah alone can destroy any argument of TMOA, of following Jilani, of anything that TMOA has built on. Because what is it? What is the person in TMOA now? Why are they there? They either are there because possibly they themselves had met Jilani and decided to follow him, and so they're still on whatever he believed in or taught them. Or, for the vast majority, they are just people who woke up one day, and whenever they realized that they were Muslim, this is the type of Muslim that they were, and TMOA was the only thing that they knew. And then after that, they kind of heard of other people, other Muslims, the general ummah, oh, they're off of it, this and another, but this is all that they knew. And when you tell them, hey, Jilani's a fraud, TMOA is misguided, they're deviant, they're following shirk, bid'ah, innovation, kufr, all types of things that have mixed up, they can't even respond to you. They don't have a response. They don't have any sort of evidence, not anything to try to rebut what's being said. The only thing is that they are going to stick with TMOA. Why? Their fathers, accepted or followed, or maybe they didn't even accept, but they decided to follow Jilani. And get this, some of the fathers, they didn't believe in Jilani. They didn't believe in it. They didn't follow him due to some Islamic reasons. They followed him due to the pursuit of power, or going with whatever group they thought was going to win, or for their own personal gains. But as far as Islam is concerned, whether it was the Dar or something else or TMOA, it's all was the same. Really, it really was just a pursuit of finding the best situation for themselves. And here it is, their children are upon that way, just because their forefathers were there. And Allah says it better than we ever could. Allah says, أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. Even though their fathers understood nothing. And this is, I find it to be the majority of the case, that the elders, our fathers, definitely are not scholars. None of them. I would say people like Ali Abdul Rashid and like that. I would say that I know of. Okay, so I don't know everybody, but what I'm saying is that people like that, where they were teaching from books, or they had some, at least were coming with some dalil, not just that feel good stuff. Like honestly, my father can tell some of the best, most wonderful stories about spiritualism, Sufism, things that he felt and heard, and all types of stuff. It's magical stuff, but it really doesn't have I'm talking about textual evidence, from Quran, from Sunnah, references. He doesn't have that. So majority of the elders, it's not an attack. I'm just saying, majority of the elders, they don't know Islam, and they are, for lack of a, I mean, it's not an attack. They're ignorant of Islam. Most of the time we found ourselves, the elders in our community, they couldn't even lead the salah. Whenever they got up and led us out, they didn't know it. Every once in a while, we'd have Islamic studies classes or Quran classes or something like that. And we got the elders sitting around, and they would get in there, and they would be absolutely butchering just the salah, the basics of the salah and stuff. So they really, a lot of them don't even know the basics of the religion and can actually teach it from their tongue to their children. So their fathers didn't know anything for the most part. In general, some of our fathers did, some had varying levels, but the general body, if you put them all together, they didn't know a damn thing about this religion. And we're just following based on a herd mentality or some, hocus pocus, some feel good, stuff. But they really didn't know anything. So they took the decision, and that still is holding true today for a lot of people, to follow Jilani based on what their father said, and they didn't know a damn thing. They didn't know anything, and they are following away just based on that. And Allah is telling us that this is what the people in the past said. They were told, we're telling them, follow what Allah has revealed. And they're saying, no, rather we're going to follow what I found our fathers doing, when their fathers were ignorant of the religion. They didn't know anything, and they weren't guided. So, it is, to me, this is one of the most, one of the strongest ayahs that goes directly to the heart of TMOA. And Allah says, the example of those who disbelieve is like the one who shouts at what hears nothing, but calls and cries cattle or sheep, deaf, dumb, and blind, so they don't understand. It's like you're just yelling. It's like, ever hear that term? Like talking to a brick wall, or you're talking something to some animals or something. They don't understand. It's the same way. It feels like you're saying the same things. I won't say the brother's name, but some of these people that we talk to, hour-long conversations, and things where we're literally, it's almost like talking to an animal. They don't understand. And Allah saying, this is the example of some of the disbelievers. This is how they are. So Allah goes on to say, let me see if there's anything else in this, and Allah does talk about again in this page. Indeed, they who conceal what Allah has sent down of the book and exchange it for a small price, those consume not into their bellies except fire, and Allah will not speak to them on the day of resurrection, nor will He purify them, and they will have a painful punishment. I look back to the person who was supposed to be refuting us, and then something that a part of their evidence to refute us had actually the refutation for him in it, but he used the smallest print and kind of threw it in there. I mean, and that's one way that they hide, try to conceal the truth. And Allah says, when you do that, there's a punishment waiting for you for that. You're doing this. Someone is asking for guidance. Someone asks you for guidance. They ask, can you find some support for this? Now, whether their intentions were, Allah knows best. But they asked for support for the seven sultans, and this person tried to conceal, make it hard for you to see the truth in it. And Allah saying these people, He's going to punish them. He's not going to look at them on the day of judgment, and they're going to have a painful punishment. So we have to be very careful. On the next page, alhamdulillah, Allah talks about one thing in particular. The ayah does talk about righteousness, and that your true righteousness is not where you're turning your face, but in all those things that Allah has legislated, believing in the articles of faith, and paying your zakat and giving charity, and being in the most of them. I would say that one of the major points of this ayah is when Allah says, and one of the things that they fulfill their promises when they promise. How many times have we been promised? Even when we look at people say, oh, they're going to come on the show, they back out. They're going to answer our questions, they back out. We're going to bring some truth. And the first time I heard anyone say that they were going to refute Jafar, I'm going to say the brother's name too, because he doesn't care. He needs to be, what's his name? Abdul Qadir Dudir, okay? Dudir from South Carolina. Right? Abu Shuraib's grandson. He told me straight up. He said, yeah, did you hear about, I think he was the first person to tell me about Jaffar's letter or whatever. He said, yeah, did you hear about Jaffar's letter? I was at a Team Away wedding back when I used to go to Team Away wedding. Anyway, he said, did you hear about Jaffar's letter or whatever? Yeah, I'm going to refute him. He said that he was going to refute him, and he said that he would. And going on 4 or 5 years, I have not heard anything from him. I was thinking, wow, he's going to refute him. But that got me looking into it. Anyway, the rest is history. But the point is, people make a lot of promises about what they're going to do, but they don't do it. And Allah said this is one of the things, this is true righteousness, fulfilling your promises when you make them. And those who are patient when they're in poverty and in hardship and during the battle. You know what I mean? Allah said they're patient during these times. We're at the thick of the battle. When, so something, one of the hadiths talks about the glimmer off the sword when it's above your head, like when you literally have to block it. Like if you don't block with your shield or with your sword, it's going to hit you in the head. That's true patience. Standing in and being ready to take those blows and defend yourself and push forward and fight. Now, we don't have any hand-to-hand combat like that now, but there's many instances where we have to be really steadfast and firm, whether it's in our lives, personal lives, or in the da'wah scene. Sometimes the pressure gets high on some people, and they want to take a softer approach or whatever the case may be. But that's the time to stand in, knowing that your family members, knowing that people around you are going to put lots of pressure on you. But that's the time. That's true righteousness, true taqwa, true al-bir is the word that Allah uses, but that's true righteousness, is when you can really stand in those times when it's very, very difficult. And Allah says that those are the people who are the muttaqun, and those are the people who are truthful, and those are the righteous people. And Allah also goes on to talk about how kutiba alaykumul qisas, that Allah has prescribed for us qisas, retaliation. And of course, we know the different things that you can retaliate for: a free person for a free person, slave for a slave, female for a female, and many other things. But even qisas even goes down to insults, slander. Even if a person were to, and this is one of the evidences that they make for why you should not shave your beard, you should not goatee, that type of thing is not even. A lot of ulama say that it's not permissible. They even like to shape it up down to a goatee. You're supposed to just let your beard run, because it's like if someone is to, and that is a opinion, it's a strong one. But if someone damages your beard, like they cut your beard, like if to cut another person's beard was a seriously humiliating thing, and there's a retribution. There's actually in the hadith there is a legislated, ordained retribution for damaging or cutting a person's beard against the will, like to damage a person's beard is a big deal. So even I think about all the things that have been done, the humiliation that's been done to people's reputations, and the emasculation that's been done to some of the people in TMOA, how that has happened to them. And I'm sure there, if we were in an Islamic country, that retribution could be taken up against those people. I mean, right now Jelani's dead, but a lot of the admin are still alive that humiliated some people on Jelani's orders that were humiliated. I mean, even your reputation is something that you can take retaliation for. But Allah has ordained that. And Allah also Allah ends this page by talking about that He has prescribed for you, when death approaches any of you, that He leaves wealth and should make a bequest for his parents and your relatives according to what is acceptable, and it's a duty upon the righteous. So we know that the actual breakdown is in Surah An-Nisa, I believe, but this is basically the first ayah that's giving you an indication and telling you that there is inheritance laws that go down, and Allah saying that you have to give it for your parents and your near relatives, and that means your sons, your daughters, your descendants. So I look at this and how Allah has ordained this, and Allah says haqqan ala al-muttaqin, that it is a duty upon the righteous. Those people who are righteous, basically the Muslims, it's incumbent, it's a duty upon you. You absolutely must do it. You have to give, once you die, your wealth has to go to those people who Allah has ordained for it to go to, period. That portion has to go to those people in that way. And Allah says this is a duty upon you. And Allah says then whoever alters the bequest after he has heard it, he or she, but Allah says he, but we know, or even a woman, I think you know where I'm going with this. A person who alters the bequest after he has heard it, the sin is only upon those who have altered it. Indeed, Allah is hearing and knowing. And we know this whole TMOA meltdown boiled down between Fatima and the Sultaniyun and Nur and the Nuriyun, I would say, those two warring factions over this inheritance and the money or whatever. And they're saying that Nur has taken and either manufactured or changed or whatever, and made the document to say whatever she wanted. Or even if she put it this way, if she did change it to what she wanted after the fact and replaced it, then the sin is only on her, and she will have to answer to Allah for it. If Jilani actually made the will, actually giving everything to her, he's wrong, because Allah said He has ordained it, and it is incumbent, it's a duty on the righteous. So if they want to claim that Jilani is righteous, when Allah is saying that He has ordained this, then he ain't righteous. He ain't righteous. He definitely ain't knowledgeable if he didn't know that he couldn't leave everything to one wife. He couldn't do it when his sons have more of a share than she does. You know, and he has multiple wives. Anyway, the point is that this speaks directly to the righteousness of Jilani. That's number one. Number two is even if Nur had changed it after the fact, then the sin is on her. It's her fault. But the people who know or should know, then it's easy thing to change. Oh wow, we saw the will. It says only Nur. We know that's wrong. Tear that up. We know how many sons and daughters he has. They should do it. But the fact remains that the will situation is still in question. It shouldn't be. There should be no question about it, because Allah has laid it out, and this is a direct indication of the righteousness or the lack thereof of either Jilani and or his right hand girl, Nur. And Allah knows best.